Well, hey, howdy, hi! Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch, and this over here is my teaching assistant, Auntie, and today I'm going to be talking about more Reddit stories, specifically ghost stories and some two-sentence horror stories. So I wanted to follow up the creepy, unsettling vibe from my stalkers video, so we're gonna do some 2-second horror stories and then a few ghost stories mixed in, ending with my own ghost story. She glared up at him, tears rolling down her cheeks, and spits through bloodied lips. I thought demons were supposed to stick to their word. He adjusted his tie, leaning down until he was face to face with her, his grotesque grin widening as he replied, "Sweetheart, if I stuck to my word, I'd still be an angel. You make sure to lower the ladder on your boat before you took a dive into the ocean. If only you'd remembered to also drop the anchor." "So you wish to be so sick that you can miss your math test?" asked the Wishmaster as the young boy nodded his head excitedly. As the oncologist entered the room and let out a sigh before he spoke, the boy's mother knew she was about to get horrible news. I clean a hospital at night. For context, I got this job like 5-ish months ago. I'm in charge of cleaning all common areas, waiting rooms, hallways, office spaces of the 3-story non-inpatient hospital. I have a couple of coworkers who clean other areas, surgical centers, urgent cares, pediatrics, so I don't see them very often. Last month, I had just gotten to the first floor and started my route with cleaning the bathrooms. Now the bathrooms face a hallway with a waiting room off to the left and some office spaces to the right. I just finished the first bathroom and was headed into the second when I noticed what looked like a young woman peeking around a corner by the office spaces. I did a double take and she wasn't there. I was genuinely confused as none of my coworkers looked similar to her. She had an uncanny valley look, and she was in front of a completely white wall, so it's not like my brain could have seen a poster and humanized it. Either way, I kinda just ignored it and continued my route. Not even 10 minutes later, I was bending over to change a trash can facing the wall when my shirt was completely pulled from my back and dropped. I spun around hoping it was one of my coworkers playing a joke, but nobody was there. I was super freaked out, kinda yelled, "I didn't say you could touch me!" Finished my job and left. I haven't had anything even close happen to me again. No clue what it was, but it was creepy as fuck. "Golly, mister, that scarecrow sure does look an awful lot like..." Now 2 scarecrows stand in a field. My mother bought an antique phone. It only rings when the lady in my closet cries. My girlfriend received a call from a ghost. This happened back in October 2022, close to Halloween. My girlfriend, along with her friend, own a hair salon since the end of 2020. They usually do Instagram posts, appointments, and everything related to social media with an iPhone that they only and exclusively use for the business. Since they were so close to Halloween, they decided to make an altar inspired by the Day of the Dead in the salon. Context, for those who don't know, the Day of the Dead, Días de los Muertos, is a celebration in Mexico where you put a stand with a picture of your relatives that have passed away along with food offerings and things like that, because it's believed that your dead relatives come in spirit to taste the things they used to like while they were alive. If you've seen the movie Coco, then you might kind of know what I'm talking about. The day they put the altar at the salon, everyone went home like usual. She came home and we did our normal routine. I went to sleep, and since she had always had trouble to fall asleep, she continued watching some series on Netflix. Somewhere around 2 to 3 in the morning, she wakes me up frantically. My first thought was that she watched some horror movie or something, but she couldn't even talk a whole sentence and she was pointing to her phone. I hugged her until she calmed down for around 10 minutes, and then she started to say that she received a FaceTime call from the phone at the salon. She said that she was watching the TV when she received a FaceTime request. Since it was 3 in the morning, she thought it was very unlikely it was her friend. But since there were times where they stayed late to do material restocking, she probably thought she was just there doing that and probably had an emergency. When she accepted the FaceTime, she only saw the ceiling. She started to say her friend's name, thinking she had made the FaceTime call, but nothing came on the screen. It was only the ceiling and the red light they leave on during the night. She started to have an eerie feeling and ended the FaceTime. Since they have security cameras on the business, she opened the app on her phone to see what was going on. At this point, she thinks that probably a thief broke in. As soon as she sees the cameras, there's no one there. She put the camera on reverse to see the exact moment at when she was called, and you can only see the phone turn on by itself and make the FaceTime to her. That's when she lost it and woke me up. She said that she can't explain the fact that the phone had a security lock and that only her and her friend knew the password to it. And also the fact that whoever or whatever was manipulating the phone picked her contact and made a FaceTime. There's no logic in that whole process. A day after she showed everyone at the salon what happened, and everyone was in shock because there was no way a phone did all of that by itself at 3 a.m., never heard of someone else receive a call from no one. That was the first and last year they made a Day of the Dead thematic for the salon, since they got goosebumps every time they remembered what happened. Someone attributed it to the altar they made because supposedly you're inviting the dead to wander your place. I told my sister to guess where mom and dad are hiding in the house. Anywhere she picks is going to be at least a little correct. "You missed our daughter's first words while you were out," he told his girlfriend. She watched her boyfriend's bloody fingers emerge from her baby's mouth like a tongue, working the mouth as he repeated, "Mommy is a cheater." And then my own ghost story. So my grandparents moved into their house about 10 years ago now, and it was very exciting, but there was one room that immediately made me uncomfortable. The first time I stepped into the room, I felt sick and like as if something was watching me, and I am not the only one who feels that way. To this day, I will not set foot in that room unless I absolutely have to, and I certainly will not sleep in there. I did try to once though. In my family, this room is called the creepy room, and that was started by my grandmother because she does not believe that anything is wrong with the room. My brother and I did try to stay in the room though, maybe 7-8 years ago, but my brother was almost immediately violently ill, and so that was a hard pass. When I turned 18 though, I did move in with my grandparents. Now the way that the rooms are set up, this was my room, there was a room here, and then this is the creepy room. I always sleep with my door closed because I'm paranoid to the very core, but I had to be in the creepy room for whatever reason during the day. But that night, I had a dream a little girl in pigtails came into my room and asked to play with me. I have never had another experience like that since in the room, but that one really stuck with me. So yeah, that was fun. I think I like the ghost stories better than the 2-sentence horror stories. Those are fun, but it was very hard to find ones that weren't stupid. But I love ghost stories just because sometimes they're so stupid and sometimes they're fantastic. That's not technically my only ghost story, but that is my favorite one to tell. My family half believes me that there's something going on. My aunt keeps trying to get me to do a Ouija board in the room, which I might do when I go home for Christmas, but we'll see. If you guys have any ghost stories, let me know in the comments or feel free to email me. I do actually check my email and I do respond to emails, but yeah, if you don't want to put it in the comments or it's really long, I still want to hear it. So email me, and then if I also have permission to read it on YouTube, like just put that in the email. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. This was fun. I do have some other spooky stuff coming up. I don't think I have anything more Reddit planned, so if you have any more stories, please let me know because it was super fun just for me personally. I also have 2 Reading Nook videos coming out where I talk about 2 novellas that are more Halloween themed, more spooky, but I will stop rambling. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and want to make a comment, that would be fantastic. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time. Bye!